I've got a really special video for you guys today. I'm here with Brenda Schultz. We are out front of this beautiful property up here in Dover-Foxcroft. This home has been in Maine Homes magazine. It's going to be in the Down East magazine. Brenda is the owner, the curator, and the designer, and the mastermind behind this project that is behind me. You've got 2 Airbnb units in a main home. This is an absolutely gorgeous property, and we are so excited to take you guys on a tour. So you lived in LA for 30 years and you've chosen to call Dover-Foxcroft home. So tell me a little bit about that decision.
Well, Dover-Foxcroft is a gated community without the gate. Everybody knows everybody. I can leave my house unlocked. I can leave my bicycle on the front lawn, my car unlocked with the keys in it, and nobody touches anything. I am just 40 minutes from the airport, and I can go back to LA anytime I want. It's very quick and easy. I worked remote to LA for 4 or 5 years and never even knew I was here.
So we're here in the canoe shop. So tell me a little bit about what your design inspiration was for this part of the property.
Well, it just sort of evolved over time. It was a building kind of sitting on the ground, but it's historic. They made canoes here for many years, built in 1900. So I started with the pine walls and broke open the loft because this was all closed in. And we kept the true divided lights within all of the windows and kept everything original in here so that you don't come in and see modern touches. So for instance, the slate sink that was built around the same time as this canoe shop, getting that refurbished and bringing it in, keeping all of the old authentic touches.
So one of the wonderful things about this property is that it is being sold fully furnished. So tell me a little bit about some of these pieces that you've gotten here and where you got them from, and just let's go into that a little bit.
Oh my God. I go all over the place getting these furnishings. I will just scour the internet and find something in New York or wherever. If it's the right piece, I'm going to get it. And this guy here, I love this. It came from Pasadena. I actually found it on Cherish. And it was just this Hollywood Regency couch, velvet, low slung, really well built. And I thought that is perfect for that canoe shop. We have this table over here, which I love. It's got all kinds of detail on it. It was a mahogany table, and I did antique it in the white and found the chairs from somewhere else. Just traveling throughout New England, as far south as New York for some of these pieces. And these hutches, again, very old. Found them in an antique shop on the coast. I have an addiction to hutches, actually.
We'll see a few of those throughout the property.
I do, yes, because they're so cool. It's kind of like a built-in with a step back. It just really works with the era of this property. And they're really functional, too.
So tell me about these sinks a little bit, because I think we're going to see a pattern that these show up in some of the other locations in here. So where did you find these? And I know you mentioned you've had them restored, so tell me a little bit about that.
Every property I have has a slate sink. Okay. It must. And so this one here, they sell for, I don't know, like $5,000 new. Well, I found this one for $25. It was cracked down the middle, and it was kind of a basket case. So I went and I got it, and I took it to Sheldon Slate, which was once Monson Slate. It's where they make all of the slate. JFK's tombstone came from this place. I mean, it's the place. And they restored the entire sink to brand new condition. And we dropped it in, and it's just perfect for in here.
So I guess tell me a little bit about these floors. So these are hemlock floors. Now, were these here when you bought the property, or were these put in after the fact?
Okay, so what happened here, this was a full-on restoration. The canoe shop was kind of sitting on the ground, and these were sort of rickety boards. The sills, we brought it up on honeycombs, and I've got the pictures of that. Brought it up about 4 or 5 feet, took the entire bottom out, put in all new sills, and spray foamed everything, and then put in these hemlock floors, which you can drive a car on. It's so sturdy. So it's all spray foamed and totally built to last.
So this portion of the property has been in the Maine Homes magazine. That's mostly for the Airbnb side of things. Talk a little bit about how this has been a little bit of a viral property.
It has been. It's so unique that, and people just love it. It's been shared all over, and it's really what set off our other properties, because people loved this coziness of it. And historically, when this was built, this ended up being the place where the sheriff came, the game warden came, the people who did the poaching, the people who got caught drunk driving, they all came in here together, played cards and drank all the time. Friday afternoon, the place was booming.
So there's some history here.
So there is a history, but there's something magical about it. And even before I restored it, and it was just the big doors on either side, and we'd open them up, and we had some furniture in here, and everybody would come over and hang out. There's just something about this property, that the energy of it, that people love.
So there's in the magazine, there's a little bit about this tub. So tell me a little bit about how this tub came to be up here.
Wow, I love a cast iron tub, not the acrylic, the cast iron. It holds the heat, and it certainly goes with this property, the rustiness of it and the deconstructed thing. So it was just left outside without any of the porcelain on the outside, and it has its rusty patina, and then the inside still has its porcelain, and we just have a hand shower. So when people say, does the property have a shower? No, it doesn't, but people come here, they light candles, and they sit in here and relax, and they love it. They can look out the windows and look out over the canoe shop. It's perfect.
Fantastic. So we're in the Forest Barn. This is a portion of the property that functions as a separate Airbnb. Tell me a little bit about the inspiration for this place, because wow, when you walk in.
Well, it is a barn. It's an old barn, and I wanted to maintain that feel and the open concept, and as much of the original barn as I could keep and still make it feel clean and nice. So we whitewashed these original ceilings to brighten them up a little bit, but those are the original ceilings. Same thing with the floor. I mean, there were oil stains. Back in the late 1800s, I mean, horses lived in here. So we had to power wash, both floors for days to get all the hay and dust out.
One of my favorite parts about this portion is the lighting. You've gone with some Edison bulbs, you've got some really unique fixtures in here. What was the plan with that? Was it to go for the cozy look? Tell me a little bit about your lighting choices.
Definitely the cozy look, but also vintage, but a little bit of steampunk too. So we're kind of combining all of those. There's just a little bit of magic to adding a modern touch or a vintage touch to make it all work together and balance it out.
So I love this kitchen. I think one of the things that you did very, very well here is the property feels cozy and warm. And sometimes you want a kitchen to feel a little bright, a little clean, but the contrast of those two can kind of set this apart too much. So what I love here is that you've made this bright, clean, open space that still ties in with the feeling of the rest of the property. From leaving these shakes on the wall here to the slate sink. Tell me a little bit about how this portion of the property came to be.
Well, this was also part of the lean-to as we had in the bathroom, and had the holes in the floor, etc. So we came in, just tore it down to the studs and spray foamed everything, which makes this place super energy efficient, cozy and warm year round. And then we just brought in the pine floors because we're in Maine and it's pine, it works. And then we just dropped in these beams and decided to leave in the cedar shakes, which was once upon a time the exterior to the horse barn. That is now the living room. And then just bringing in the open shelf concept because we sure didn't want to cover this up. So it just kind of gave it texture. And again, it's a very high ceiling because it was the exterior of the building. Yeah, just lots of windows, lots of light, a nice door to go outside and enjoy the flower gardens.
Where did you source this sink and the hardware here I love.
Okay, so, and this is like a raw faucet. It's like the top of the line. I didn't cut corners on our faucet, so that's important. And on the sink, my husband's an electrician and he was working on a property, and this was in somebody's cellar, once again, a basket case covered in paint. They were using it just to, you know, rinse paint brushes in and throwing things in. So he said, well, if you give me $500 off, I'll give you $500 off the bill if I can have that sink. So they gave him the sink. Up to months and it went. They brought it back. Gorgeous. Perfect. It's a 4-foot sink and it is beautiful. Has a nice garbage disposal. It's perfect. And then I just brought this beadboard in and painted it to carry the theme up through. And then just the old vintage bottles just to tie it all together.
All right, so the second you come up these stairs, wow, you step in, there's a centerpiece of this bed with a chandelier. You got the turquoise tones that we've talked about here a little bit. What was going through your head when you decided to put the king-size bed in the center of the room?
I thought this room is massive and I want it to be a singular space. It needs to feel cozy, but I want it to be really vaulted and open at the same time. So the way I accomplished that was doing the really dark wall and bringing in the velvet, turquoise draperies and the jewel tone rugs. And of course this old barn floor that is very, very old.
Okay, so we're in the main home here and you've done things a little bit different in here, made it a little more livable, and I love how it came out. So let's start right here in the kitchen. Tell me about how this space came together.
Sure. Well, when we bought the home, this was the primary residence. And so we began fixing this first. And we called this the Hollywood home because everybody thought it was the most beautiful home in town. And it was stripped right down to the studs, all the plaster taken out, the wiring, the plumbing, everything. So the outside looked fantastic. It was all painted and landscaped and everything, but you'd come inside and there was nothing for like 2 or 3 years. But then finally we got down to task. And all of the woodwork was removed and numbered and put away. And once it was all sheetrocked, plumbed, wired and everything, then we brought all the original woodwork back in, put it all back together again.
Awesome.
There were a few modifications because in these old homes they didn't flow that well, so we talked about this little server window that was once a closet that we didn't need, and it made the kitchen feel very closed in. The dining room was missing some light, so we made a server window to let more light in and create openness while still keeping plenty of counter space.
All right, so coming out of the kitchen, we step into the formal dining room. You've got a beautiful table here, beautiful chandelier. Is there anything here special that you really like about this room?
I like the accessibility to the kitchen, and it's very cozy in here. I love the coziness and all the jewel tones, the chandelier. It's a very comfortable, nice place for people to sit. It's very conducive to people sitting and enjoying a meal or playing cards or a game or something. I notice when people stay here, they use this room a lot.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So as we come through here, we're gonna step into, are you calling this a family room or a sitting room?
TV room.
TV room, okay. So we've got the TV room here. The bathroom is right off to my left. And this is all being sold furnished. So tell me about some of the pieces in here.
Well, this is a reclining sofa. It's pretty nice. Again, we have to go with the jewel tones here. And this is just another retro find that I antiqued.
So you've got the refinished older floors here. I love the color in this room and I love how much light comes in. Even with these curtains up, it feels very bright and open.
Yeah, yep, it's pretty comfortable and bright, and these chairs are super comfortable and they swivel and they have the slip covers on them.
So this is one of the coolest parts of the main house. And you guys built this all out of an old attic space. So tell me a little bit about this room.
I love this room. It's super cozy, and I call it choo-choo train formation, but it's like the little bunk beds, like a sleeper car on a train, and each person gets their own separate compartment with their storage and outlets and a place to hang up their things. And there's privacy. You could even put curtains across, but I just didn't do that. And it's,
I'm not always a fan of painting brick, but in this case, painting this white I think really helps finish the room off here. So even though it's not a huge space, it feels very open, very airy. So this is a great space.
well, thank you.
Thank you for taking this tour with us. It's an absolutely beautiful home and we hope you check it out in person.